In my last video, I showed you guys my favorite hack for making production crosscut runs here at the table saw, and in that video, I used double-sided paper tape, as I probably do in all my videos. And the one comment that I've seen more than any other is, why don't I just use magnets? Specifically, the Magswitch switchable magnets. So today I want to answer that question and show you not only why I don't typically use these, but a quick workaround that I figured out that might actually have me changing my mind. So the hack that I showed goes like this. Lock your fence to whatever measurement you need and take a small piece of scrap and place it against the fence. While holding that piece firmly to the table, move the fence completely out of your way and fix another piece right next to it with a little double-sided tape. Now that block is exactly where your fence used to be, and you're all set to make hundreds of cuts that are all the same size. The block is easy to remove and the tape comes off easily as well, even on a wax table. Now in that video, I took it a step further and made a specific block that incorporated an adjustment screw for micro adjustment, and I recessed a magnet into the top so I could store it easily underneath the guide rails for easy access. And this is where the comments started to pour in. Why not just use the magnet itself to hold it to the table instead of the double-sided tape? The answer to that is that magnets don't hold well horizontal to the surface they're stuck to, and double-sided tape does. That, and I use double-sided tape for almost all my projects, so for me it's super convenient. The bulk of a magnet's holding strength is vertical, which is why it's so hard to pull them apart from one another, yet so easy to slide them apart. In the case of this little magnet, it's pretty much useless for this application, but works perfect for simply sticking it under the saw. Now you guys have specifically mentioned the Magswitch switchable magnets, but here you're gonna run into the same problem. Now if you don't know what a switchable magnet is, it's literally just a magnet that can be switched on or off, which would be great for situations like this, except for one problem. They don't hold horizontally very well because, again, magnets only hold about 15 to 25% of their rated holding capacity horizontally, which means even this Magswitch 150 is just a little bit less useless than the magnet that I used in the first place. Now, this has been a pretty common issue for Magswitch users since they came out, but if you happen to have one of these new style magnetic featherboards, you know that the old Magswitch woes have pretty much been resolved with the help of these little gaskets. Now, these gaskets make all the difference in the world and have made this featherboard one of my most recommended table saw accessories. Not only does it work anywhere on a cast iron top, so you're not just limited to the miter slots, the magnets truly hold strong enough to use. And it even has a built-in feature that specifically addresses repeated crosscuts. If you take a long piece of scrap and hold it to the fence side of the blade, you can measure over to your desired measurement and then just lock the switches down. These two threaded adjustment stops also allow you to micro adjust and fine tune to your desired cut, and since there's two of them, you could even use it for repeated dados. Now, of course, I'll leave a link in the description where you guys can find this if you're interested in checking it out. But again, the real takeaway here for our situation is the use of these gaskets. Now, I don't have gaskets, but I found that using a bit of foam rubber shelf liner works great if you stick it to the bottom of the Magswitch. I used, ironically, double-sided tape to do this so that if I don't want it there anymore, I can easily take it off. And it works surprisingly well, increasing the grip strength and making this thing actually usable. I even took it up a notch and made a whole new stop block, still with an adjustment screw, but this time with a Magswitch 150 mounted to it and shelf liner fixed to the bottom. I can use it the same as the old one, but without the double-sided tape, so it's even more convenient. Now, there's one more thing that I wanted to address real quick, and that's that this whole idea is all for nothing, and that one should simply just use a crosscut sled for crosscuts. In a production situation where you have to make, say, a few hundred of the same size crosscut, a crosscut sled is not necessarily the right tool for the job. You can only make so many cuts over here before you start getting crowded. And then you have to stop production, you have to pick up all these pieces, you gotta get them out of your way, and you have to start over. So a lot of times it actually does make more sense to use your miter gauge and just let them run right off the back of the saw into a collection bin of some sort. Anyway, hopefully that clarifies a few things, or at least gives you some ideas of how to use double-sided tape or magnets better in your shop. Thanks so much for watching as always. We'll see you guys in the next video.